Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for RMU Live. Today is Monday, April 15, 2019. I'm Gage Golding.
And I'm John Blinn. Here's what's happening now.
A teenager from Butler County is now facing charges after police say he allegedly posted threats online against his school this weekend. Authorities say a 16-year-old male was taken into police custody for the threats targeting the Butler Vocational School and Butler Senior High School. He is facing charges of terroristic threats.
If you haven't filed your tax seasons yet, chop chop. It's April 15th, the deadline to turn in your tax returns for 2018. If you live in Maine or Massachusetts, you have 2 more days because of the Patriots' Day holiday. But for everyone else, the paperwork is due, and the IRS says as many as 50 million taxpayers have yet to file. If you're unable to get everything in order before midnight tonight, the IRS recommends filing for an extension. That will prevent taxpayers from paying late penalties, but it won't provide more time to pay taxes with money that is owed. Most tax-related questions can be answered by going to irs.gov.
A young male was shot multiple times by police officers in Moon Township. Around 2:30 a.m. Sunday morning, police received a domestic assault call. When they arrived at the scene, they found 19-year-old Logan Bradley Macri outside with a firearm. Officials say that Macri would not respond to police commands, so they fired at him. Macri was flown to a Pittsburgh area hospital and is now undergoing surgery. Police in Armstrong County are investigating an overnight shooting in Leechburg. One person was reportedly killed in the incident. State police in Katanning are investigating the shooting. We're working to learn more on this shooting and will bring you all the details as soon as they're made available.
A man was found suffering stab wounds in a crashed vehicle Saturday night. At approximately 10 p.m., authorities responded to reports of a stabbing, and when they arrived at the scene, they found the man crashed into a business on Franktown Avenue. The man inside the vehicle was suffering stab wounds. He was transported to the hospital in serious condition. The investigation is ongoing. Also on Sunday, a car was found crashed into a restaurant in Shaler Township. The vehicle slammed into the Barrel Junction on Williams Flynn Highway at around 3 p.m. When authorities arrived at the scene, they found the vehicle in the lobby area. The driver and the passenger were sent to the hospital, and no one inside the restaurant was injured.
A Pennsylvania police officer will not face criminal charges after accidentally shooting an inmate. Holly Harbor reports the officer thought he was firing his taser. We do have to warn you, the following video does contain graphic content.
On March 3rd, New Hope police arrested 38-year-old Brian Reiling for allegedly harassing his ex-girlfriend. In the video, Reiling enters a holding cell and is directed by an officer to remove his belt. That's also when something that looks like a rectangular drug baggie falls to the floor. A scuffle ensues to prevent Reiling from stepping on the bag. Reiling manages to throw the baggie into the cell's toilet, but another officer enters. That officer then yells, before shooting Reiling in the torso with a firearm. Reiling falls to the ground but manages to flush the toilet. He was taken to a nearby hospital where he was listed in critical condition. He did survive. The Bucks County District Attorney's Office stated in a release that the officer would have been justified in using his stun gun to regain control of Reiling inside the holding cell. The statement goes on to say that because the officer believed he was deploying his taser and not wielding his service firearm, he did not possess the criminal mental state required to be guilty of a crime under state law.
The officer, who was not identified because he wasn't charged, was placed on administrative leave and retired from the department on April 10th.
Police in Wheeling, West Virginia say they have found a body in the Ohio River on Sunday. Authorities say a boater found the body in the back channel of the river near Bridgeport, Ohio around 1:30 a.m. Officials say it could take several days to identify the body.
Pittsburgh fire crews faced flames coming out of a 2-story duplex in Garfield Sunday morning. Officials say the crews were called to the 5300 block of Brown Way, where they saw smoke coming out of the duplex. No residents were home at the time of the fire and no one was injured. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. A woman was stabbed in the East Hills neighborhood of Pittsburgh several times Sunday evening. Police found a woman with several wounds in the 8400 block of Frankstown Avenue around 1:40 p.m. The woman was taken to the hospital in stable condition.
A 94-year-old man received his high school diploma on Saturday. World War II veteran Emilio Salderi was awarded his diploma while being accepted into the Allegheny Valley Alumni Hall of Fame. Salderi was unable to receive his diploma in 1943 when he was drafted to fight in the war. The man was provided with a cap and gown, and his son helped him flip his tassel.
At least 5 people are dead, including 2 children, after a string of violent storms slammed several communities from Texas to Mississippi. The deadly storm system is now moving east and threatening about 80 million people from Ohio to New York. Meredith Wood has a closer look at the damage left behind as millions brace for more possible life-threatening conditions.
A deadly storm, the same severe weather system that spawned several twisters and killed at least 5, including 3 youths, is now marching east.
This is one of the worst ones I've ever seen, I believe, especially this compact in one area.
Moving the risk of life-threatening winds, strong tornadoes, and large hail to a heavy populated stretch of the U.S. New York, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, and the Ohio River Valley are within the danger zone. Meteorologists are concerned the storm will continue its destructive pattern. In Texas, 2 children ages 3 and 8 were killed when a tree fell on their car. In another incident, a woman died after her mobile home was destroyed. The National Weather Service says a likely tornado with winds up to 140 miles per hour touched down in Robertson City, Texas.
I was just doing like this, and I just covered up. And I was praying, and then a big board back there in the backyard like shielded me.
I heard my husband jump on a trailer, and he was like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm buried up under all this stuff."
This lucky family survived along with their dog and newborn puppies. Meanwhile, in Louisiana, the storms also claimed the life of a 13-year-old boy who drowned in a drainage area. Mississippi emergency officials report at least 1 death in the town of Hamilton, and the threat is not over. I'm Meredith Wood reporting.
And John, we did experience some of those nasty winds, and actually the area, most of western Pennsylvania, including some of Ohio, down to Indiana County, it was under that tornado watch for most of the evening. But now it appears that that has subsided, but cool temperatures are on the way.
Absolutely, Gage. It was certainly chilly out today. So we're going to toss it over to Spencer Witt now to fill us in on today's weather.
John, it was a cold one today, this morning, a lot different than what we saw yesterday, but still not exactly what people are expecting for April 15th. We take a look at our live shot in the North Shore, the Fort Pitt Bridge on the corner. You see a lot of gloomy skies and a lot of cloudiness. It's very cold and gloomy, I think, is the best way to put it. Take a look at the temperatures for today, 50 degrees. Humidity of 86%, 37 being the low. A chance of precipitation, 50% on the day. You should expect to see rain in some areas, and we even saw some snow early in the morning in some areas. It didn't stick anywhere, but still some snow. Taking a look at the hourly forecast for the rest of the day. 3 p.m., 45 degrees. 6 p.m., 48 degrees. The sun might peek out a little bit, but not too much. And at 9 p.m., 45 degrees as well, but cloudy again. However, will this temperature, and will this weather, stay the same? I'll give you more of that later on in our 5-day forecast later on in the show, but I'll send it right back to the desk for Gage and John.
Thank you, Spencer, and I really hope those temperatures are on the upward trend. So we'll have a better look at that later on. But coming up after the break, hazing at a college in New York and how the school is handling the situation coming up when we come back from the break.
And how PennDOT is working to ensure that people are registering their vehicles. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfies. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man, let's split a ride home.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back. The mayor of South Bend, Indiana made it official Sunday.
They call me Mayor Pete. I am a proud son of South Bend, Indiana, and I am running for President of the United States.
Is the fastest rising Democratic candidate in the crowded presidential field. On Sunday, he cast his candidacy as a direct rebuttal to Trump's campaign. He announced his presidential exploratory committee in January. On Friday, he officially dropped exploratory from his committee.
A University of Buffalo student was found undergoing cardiac arrest following a hazing incident. Sebastian Seraphin Bazin was the prospective fraternity student who was asked to do physical activity for the Sigma Pi Pledge preliminary toxicology test found that Seraphin Bazin did not have alcohol or drugs in his system.
A Pennsylvania lawmaker is pushing to bring back registration stickers for cars. After stickers were dropped in 2016, the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation saw a $22 million drop in fees. The lawmaker of Berks County argues that despite the drop, some people stopped registering their vehicles altogether, and this is creating a bigger issue.
United States President Donald Trump is touting his relationship with Kim Jong-un, as quote-unquote excellent. This comes after the North Korean leader said he's open to a third summit with the United States, but only if the U.S. changes its attitude. Paula Hancock reports from Seoul.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un says he is willing to meet with the U.S. President Donald Trump for a third summit. But he has said that there are conditions attached to this. Now, he was speaking at the Supreme People's Assembly, the North Korean parliament, and state-run media said that he is potentially willing to do this. But in order to be able to speak to President Trump again, the U.S. has to change its attitude, saying that the U.S. has to change its current way of calculation. Now, this is a very clear indication that North Korea is not happy with the way that the Hanoi summit ended without an agreement. Kim Jong-un was quoted also as saying that he wouldn't be happy and he wouldn't be willing to have another summit that is like Hanoi, i.e. without an agreement. So as I say, this is really the first time that we have heard from the North Korean leader himself, but it's not as bad as it could have been. Yes, he is saying that the US has to change its ways, but he is not saying what we heard just a few weeks ago, that he was potentially giving up on talks altogether. We had heard from the Deputy Foreign Minister, Choi Sun-hee, saying that Kim Jong-un was going to decide whether or not it was even worth continuing talking with the United States. So we are hearing that Kim Jong-un is willing to continue. He also had some fond words for the US president. We're really seeing on both sides that the leaders are reticent to criticize each other. They will criticize those around each other, but they are both highlighting that their friendship remains strong. Kim Jong-un quoted as saying that the relationship between the two leaders is far stronger than the relationship between the two countries, or at least far less hostile, even suggesting that they can go back to sending and receiving letters, which we saw recently, but it is a real feeling that we've gone back a number of months. But it's interesting, we are hearing also from Kim Jong-un that he has a time limit. He is saying that his patience will end at the end of this year, the end of 2019, and he's giving the United States that amount of time to change its calculation in the way it's talking about denuclearization. Interesting, because at the same time we're hearing the US President Donald Trump saying that he has all the time in the world, that there isn't a rush, that a rush deal would not be a good deal. Paula Hancock, CNN Seoul.
When we come back from the break, we take a look at the history of the Titanic on its anniversary.
And Michael Sholey is in the Sports Center getting ready to break things down. Thank you for spending your Monday afternoon with us. We'll be right back.
But my mind wasn't at school. I had problems at home. That's when I met Narnese. She started helping me a little bit, like, Nia, I don't know what you're doing, but your future is more important. She's my strength. It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. It changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be blood. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
I'm ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun. So everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
Welcome back to RMU Live. A college student in New York is in critical condition after falling from a bell tower while trying to take pictures. Police say a group of seniors at the Fordham University decided to climb to the top of the tower early Sunday. That's when a 22-year-old female student fell about 30 to 40 feet inside of the tower. Responders found the woman lying on the ground with trauma to her head and body. They took her to a nearby hospital. University officials are investigating how the students were able to get inside of the tower.
Monday marks the 107th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. More than 1,500 passengers and crew of the British luxury liner, the RMS Titanic, died when it sank April 15, 1912. The ship was making its maiden voyage from Southampton, England, to New York City. When it hit an iceberg, it sank about 370 miles south of Newfoundland. It's considered to be one of the worst marine disasters in history. Not only have scientists and scholars been interested in researching the disaster, but it has inspired songs, films, and even a Broadway musical.
And John, this has been one of the most interesting weekends in sports. We saw who could be the GOAT come back in golf, and the Penguins, I just don't even want to talk about it. Mike Shirley's in the Sports Center. He can do the talking for us. Mike?
You kind of hit the nail right on the head there. It was a very interesting weekend, so let's dive right into it. The Pittsburgh Pirates were able to walk away with 2 out of 3 victories from the weekend against the Washington Nationals. This past weekend, the Buccos won 2 games. First one came on Friday night when the Bucs beat the Nationals by a score of 6-3 in 10 innings. Then on Saturday, the Pirates would fall by a score of 3-2. However, in the rubber match of the weekend, the Buccos bounced back and picked up a 4-3 victory. And as for the Penguins, like Gage mentioned, they continued their rough start to the playoff series against the New York Islanders after dropping both games they played this weekend. Game 2 of the series, was on Friday night, and it saw the Islanders knock off the Pens by a score of 3-1. And then yesterday afternoon, the Islanders would best the Penguins again, this time by a score of 4-1. The Pens are now down 3-0 in the best-of-7 series and are on the brink of elimination. They will hope to stay alive tomorrow night. Game 4 is set for tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. And after 11 years, Tiger Woods finally captured his 15th major tournament victory when he won his 5th Masters yesterday. Woods shot a final round of 70 to finish at 13 under par for the tournament, beating Dustin Johnson, Xander Schauffele, and Brooks Koepka, who all finished at 12 under. And the feel-good story of the weekend, arguably the greatest golfer of his generation, returned to the pinnacle of the sport after battling injuries and other demons for years. Congratulations, Tiger. And that's all I have for now, but we're going to be back with RMU Sports. However, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but stay with us.
And when we come back from the break,
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back to RMU Live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Michael Schuley, and let's continue the sports report, this time with Robert Morris Sports. The RMU men's lacrosse team stayed hot this weekend when they won their 4th straight game in a row. The men's lacrosse team was able to go on the road and defeat Cleveland State by a score of 13-8. The Colonials offense was led by Tyson Gibson and Jake Bordeaux, as both were able to record a hat trick on the game. The men's lacrosse team will be back in action on Saturday when they travel to Bryant to take on the Bulldogs. As for the women's lacrosse team, they also added to the win column this weekend when they handed down a beating to the St. Francis Red Flash, winning by a score of 18-5. The highlight of the afternoon was Carrie Sayrafe, who broke the RMU single-game record by scoring 9 goals on Saturday. This broke the previous record of 8 goals that was also held by Sayrafe. Another highlight for the Colonials on the afternoon was Melanie Gandy, who put up 2 goals and 6 assists for 8 points in the game. The women's lacrosse team will be back in action on Thursday when they travel to Sacred Heart to play the Pioneers. And as for the RMU softball team, they split the 2 games that they played in this weekend. The Colonials took on the Wagner Seahawks in a doubleheader on Saturday, and the Colonials were able to win the first game of that doubleheader by a score of 10-1. However, the Seahawks would not go down so easily in the second game, and they bounced back to defeat the Colonials by a score of 11-1 in Game 2 of that doubleheader. The softball team was scheduled to play a pair of games against Sacred Heart yesterday. However, they were postponed due to inclement weather. That's all I have for the sports report. I'm going to kick it over to Spencer Witt now for a look at that weather. Spencer.
Thank you, Michael. And we take a look again at the live shot from the North Shore. It's a very cloudy day, a gloomy day, a bit of a difference from the RMU sports that we saw this weekend, a bright sunshine for a lot of those sports. But today, good thing there are none because it's a very gloomy day. A high of 50 degrees with a humidity of 86%. The low for today, 37 degrees. We saw that earlier in the morning, a little bit of a mix of rain and snow early on. It didn't stick at all, the snow. That's the reason for the chance of precipitation being 50%. We'll take a look at tomorrow's forecast, a high of 66 degrees, humidity 52%, a low of 53 degrees, and a chance of precipitation of 10%. So it'll be a lot nicer tomorrow compared to today's forecast. We'll take a look at the rest of the weather for the week. A 5-day forecast of 70 degrees on Wednesday, Thursday 79, Friday definitely can expect some rain and some thunderstorms, 68 degrees. Saturday and Sunday, expect some rain as well in the 50 and 60 range. And that is the weather for the 5-day forecast. And we thank you so much for allowing me to do this weather. I'll send it back over to Gage and John on the desk.
That could probably be some of the best news that we hear. Thank you, Spencer. 80 degrees coming up again. That's big. One thing is that weather that we experienced yesterday. I wasn't in the Western PA area, but how bad was it here?
It was pretty nice out here. I walked around yesterday, part of the day, with just a t-shirt on. I mean, we saw some sprinkles yesterday, but you know what they say, Gage? April showers, spring, May flowers.
That's important. Now, one thing that, isn't to joke around with the Penguins hockey team this year. I just got word right now that they canceled their practice today ahead of a crucial Game 4 against the Islanders. So, in case you guys haven't been keeping up on that or just tuned in and missed Mike's sports report, they're down 3-0. They just canceled that important practice. But we want to say thank you, guys. This is the last show of the semester. We want to say thank you for joining us every Monday at 1 p.m. for RMU Live. On behalf of Michael Schuley, Spencer Witt, Sonu Babu, John Blinn, everybody up in the booth, we appreciate you guys joining us and spending your Monday with us. And of course, there's that one last chance this semester to get all your latest RMU news. That's Friday at noon for RMU Live. Actually, I'm kidding. Easter break. You guys have a great Easter and have a great summer. For all of us here in the studio, I'm Gage Golding.
I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look,